Hello, this is a prepaid call from an inmate at the Virginia Department of Corrections, Red Onion State Prison. To accept this call, press 0.
This is Randall Via. I'm currently serving 1,214 years for capital murder in Red Onion State Prison in the state of Virginia in the USA. This is my podcast, Red Onion Randy. I hope you enjoy listening to me today. This is Randall Via, currently serving 1,214 years for capital murder and armed robbery. Currently being housed at King Mountain Correctional Center in Oakwood, Virginia, in the USA. Welcome to my podcast, Red Onion Randy. I hope you enjoyed listening to me today. If you have any questions or comments or want to leave a message or whatever, I've got a voicemail line. That number is 1-888 524-1932. For anyone outside the continental U.S., just put a plus in front of the 1 and you're good to go. You can also visit my website, which is new and improved and got different features and whatnot, at www.redonionrandy.com. We also have some merch up there. So far, it's just a hoodie and a T-shirt with my logo and everything. You can find that link on my website. I hope you support me. You can also find me on X at Red Onion Randy. I hope you do. Let's get started with the podcast. As everybody who listens to me know, I've been doing this podcast for 5 years now. Believe me, and the original Michael 1 started it in 2019, and it's grown a little bit since then. But today's episode is going to be a little bit different. I've got my new editor on, Michael 2, or as I've started calling him, Tweed. That's his little prison nickname I've granted him. We're going to kind of just talk together, communicate. Who knows where it's going to go. It should be interesting. So let me introduce my new editor, Michael. Say hi to them.
What's going on, everybody? I think everybody probably already knows who I am just from me posting stuff online for you for so much. But yeah, if anybody doesn't know, my name is Mike and I'm from Toronto, Canada. If you can't tell from my accent. But yeah, I guess probably this story goes back to like 2016 when I first saw the Red Onion documentary. That was like the first time I became aware of you, as like many other people became aware of you through that documentary too. But yeah, that was the first time I saw you.
And it still took you 5 years to reach out to me. What an impact I made.
Well, what happened is like I didn't really think much of it when I first saw as far as like reaching out to you. I didn't really think about it when I first saw the documentary. I thought it was cool, but I just like, I don't know, that just wasn't in my head as even like being a possibility of like communicating with people in prison. But what happened is probably about, I guess it would have been 2019. I was scrolling through iTunes and I was looking for new podcast episodes, and I think I just searched for prison, and yours was the top one that came up. And yeah, I found your podcast. By that, I think I was a little late actually. I think by the time I found your podcast, there was already like 30-40 episodes or something, and I just binged through all of them probably like within a day. I ran through them pretty fast.
I appreciate it. It's I'm glad you took that chance on me. I've had a lot of people write me. As you know, we talked about this before. I've had a lot of people reach out to me around the world, and unfortunately, And somewhat fortunately, to be honest with you, I only have but so many hours in a day to write and respond to emails. I mean, I think the most people I've written at one time was almost 100 people. You know, so yeah, a lot of those, friendships, relationships just kind of faded. I did have to end a couple. Um, there's just some things I'm not into, some things I'm not going to be a part of. But the ones that have stuck, you, Paulie, Michael One, Chu Yin, obviously my wife Nick. It's made such a huge impact. I mean, that's the thing. Like I've got, guys with, some small. I mean, and I really do mean like minuscule, mob connections in Philly. I've got a guy who did time in North Carolina and Texas who's now living in Texas. I've got a buddy named John and was like Andrew Klein from Sinclair from Brisbane, Australia. My dude Auntie from Helsinki, Finland. Andrew Klein from Washington. Like I've got people, my friend Ava, who's currently living in Florida. Like I've got some friends that have just really just they wrote and they're still here to this day, years and years and years later, and that kind of, it humbles me. It makes me think y'all are crazy, and you need to get a life, but at the same time, like, it's kept me grounded. I don't think I would have made it. I give God all the credit first and foremost. That's just, something I do, something I always will do, but at the end of the day, He worked through y'all. Because I would not be here right now if it wasn't for y'all. So there's a lot of love and respect on my end.
Yeah, well, it goes both ways. I mean, people got to understand about podcasts really help. They can, like, people think of podcasts as just being like, something superficial or whatever. It's just something you're listening to. But for a lot of people, they can really like keep you company and like, because I know for me, like when I was on the road traveling so much and like being away from everybody all the time, like podcasts, I really like, you almost like form a relationship with somebody just through listening to their story.
Hold up real quick. Hey, George. I'm recording a podcast and an interview. Just quiet a little bit, please. All right, sorry about that.
But yeah, no, like a lot of people, especially people with depression or mental health issues and stuff like that, they really become connected, I think, through, like, especially a podcast with yours where you're telling such personal stories about your life. I think that's how people kind of like really connect with you and like feel like, I think there's a lot of people probably feel like they know you, even that if the people that don't reach out and talk to you, if that makes sense.
Right. Yeah, I mean, to me, I spent so many years of my life alone. Even when I was on the street growing up as a small child, when I spent that time hiding in the woods, from, drunk dad and all that bullshit I had to deal with. Like I've always felt alone, especially juvenile prison. Since that documentary came out, I remember originally I not only didn't want to do it, I actually refused to do it. And Lieutenant Fannin and Unit Manager Jeffrey Artrip at the time, though both of them have been, promoted since then, they threatened me. And even though I was in the hole in, the IM6 close pod in D6 at Red Onion, they threatened to send me back to C Building, and that pod, yeah, I was in solitary confinement in that pod. If I left that cell, I was in shackles and handcuffs, and I had a gun pointed at my head the whole time. We had more privileges in that pod, though, because I guess the documentary, I guess the way that the pod was set up or whatnot. And I didn't want to lose what I had, so I wind up, like, all right, man, fine, do it. And I went out with the intention of just being quiet, not being noticed. And I remember exactly what it was that I said, that you could see Christy Jacobson's eyes and the cameraman and the sound got, like, their eyes just really just fucking...
You have 1 minute remaining.
Their eyes just went straight up cartoon big. And that's when, I said, I kind of like this pod because it gives us the chance to rehumanize ourselves, because to spend so many years in the hole talking to somebody through a vent, not face to face like I was out when I was chained to the floor. Okay. Let me call back, buddy.
All right, call right back. Yeah, so what were you saying right before we cut off?
Okay, I was talking about I didn't want to do that documentary. And I think there was like a stigma behind it. I'm a convict, man. I ain't doing no damn documentary. I ain't selling out for these people. I'm not going on there and telling them and giving them a 5-star rating. But at the end of the day, I look back and I see God's hand in it and thank him for what he did. Otherwise I wouldn't have met y'all. And I would have lost out on so much growth, so much pain, heartache, so much beauty and laughter and love, and and that was the cool thing about that. That's the that's the beautiful thing about life, and that's what I'm trying. One of the things I'm trying to get across with the podcast is beauty from ashes. I did a whole episode on it. And speaking of the episodes, dude, and you taking over the editing duties from Julianne and everything, due to some health issues on her part. I absolutely love what you're doing with, the thumbnails and the pictures and all that stuff with AI. Like, it is that episode of me in the prison cell drawing a phoenix on the wall. The crazy thing is we actually do stuff like that here in prison. Especially those who are good at drawing and, they can, get the art equipment and whatnot. So that really was extremely cool. Not only that, that Phoenix would make a badass back piece. So yeah. But I mean there's so much beauty that can come from our paint. And I'm married now. To a gorgeous, drop-dead gorgeous woman that I literally have no business being in a relationship with, much less married to this chick. And it all came from pain. It all came from loneliness. It all came from solitary confinement. And that's to me, it's amazing. The impact that, yes, I've had on other people's lives. But that's what I don't think a lot of y'all realize, even my friends, the impact that y'all make on my life. And I'm where I'm at right now because I've been able, when I get into those states where I just really want to fucking hurt someone, when I really want to put someone in their place because they've pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed until I'm really sick and tired of being pushed. I don't care how much rehabilitation a man does. If you have to do it all by yourself without any single person to help you, without any single person to lean on and rely on, you're going to crumble, you're going to fall, and you're going to put your hands on someone. You might get your ass whooped depending on who you put your hands on, but you're going to put your hands on someone because eventually you're going to snap out. And a lot of times when you do wind up snapping out, you always wind up snapping out on somebody that doesn't really deserve you putting their hands on. I've seen that happen thousands of times here in prison. So it's not, to me, the podcast isn't about the impact I'm making on the world. It's about the impact y'all are making on me and how y'all help me to get through it. Because how many times, dude, have I called you and you're like, hey, what's going on? I'm like, man, I'm going to fucking rip this dude's head off. And you're like, maybe we shouldn't do that. Let's you know. Yeah. So like, and then, you talk to me, you tell me about Johnny getting upset because you and Gio were spending too much time with the horses and he went in your bedroom and pissed on your pillow. And next thing you know, I'm sitting there laughing at your dog's antics and I don't want to hurt nobody anymore. So like, it's amazing that even in a Supermax prison, one of the worst Supermaxes in the world, I mean, to the point where, and I will be doing an upcoming episode on this about Red Onion, you got guys up there setting themselves on fire. Like they're wrapping themselves in sheets and blankets, popping the socket, and setting themselves on fire, just to force the DOC's hand to get them out of that prison. But yet I was up there and I was able to touch people's lives. I was able to help people. I was able to, and it's insane to me, but it's beautiful to me at the same time.
Yeah. You think, is anybody else still at Red Onion that was there when you were there or when the documentary was made?
I'm not sure. I know Dennis Webb, the big boy who scratched the warden's face, even though he, runs around telling everybody he damn near chopped his head off. He put a 2-inch scratch on his face with a razor blade. He's at Wallings Ridge. I know Lars Hansen. The last time I heard about him, he was at Sussex 1. So I don't know where he's at now. Kelly, I believe Kelly's still at Red Onion. My buddy Frank is still at Red Onion. I think Kislon might have been released from prison by now. I can't remember his real name. I never really cared for him that much. Hell, even Filipino for Lars Hansen, his nickname in prison is Filipino. Even me and him for a long time really didn't get along, but when I got out of the solitary and the IM6 closed pod and everything, and I went across the yard to general population, he wasn't in the pod he was in the kitchen pod, but we went outside on the rec yard together, and he come up to me, hey man, how you doing, man? When we just, started talking, and, we kind of, it became a little bit cooler than we were back in the IM6 closed pod.
Well, doesn't that kind of environment must like intensify every kind of a relationship, right? Like, there's somebody you're not getting along with. If you're in that kind of environment, you're really not going to get along with them.
Right. Yeah. No. There's there's people like even in the pod I'm in right now. There's people I do my absolute best to just stay away from, not talk to, not engage or deal with them in any way. And there's like 2 people, if they come up to me, I'm like, man, what the fuck are you doing talking to me, man? Like, no, you don't talk to me, you don't ask me for nothing. Like, get away from me. And the thing is, it's not because I'm a dick. It's not because I'm an asshole or a bully or anything like that. I don't I don't bully people. I don't pick on people. Even though, I could. I'm physically capable of doing it. I'm mentally capable of doing it. I'm just not emotionally or spiritually capable of doing it. But I know how easy it is to trigger an altercation. So if you're one of them people I really, really don't like, and you come up and you're trying to hang out with me and you're getting on my nerves, I'm going to tell you to carry your ass simply because I don't want to slap you.
Yeah. Well, you have to be direct. That's what I'm kind of get at. In those situations, you got to be direct. Otherwise, it's just going to create an issue that's ongoing for you.
Right. And, look, now don't get me wrong. I'm not doing it like, hey, yo, look here, bitch. Get on your fucking knees and walk away from me like the whore you are. Okay, probably going to start an altercation right there. It's not so much what you say, but it's how you say it. But in this case, it can be what you say at the same time, simply because I'm not going to be a dick about. I'm not going to antagonize this person. Bro, you don't talk to me. I don't talk to you, man. Get the fuck away from me. But I'm not saying it in like a really extremely aggressive way, but I am putting my foot down. You're not welcome around me, and you're not welcome around me. So it's yeah, especially when you've got an environment like Red Onion and Wallace Ridge where you're constantly on lock. You're losing. Like and that's the thing. I've lost quite a few friends because we was on lockdown up there so much. I couldn't get access to the kiosk, to send an email or whatnot. And we're on lockdown up there for 40, 50, 60 days. And by the time I get out, I've got 70 or 80 emails waiting on me, and some of them start off talking about, hey, I hope you're doing well, blah, blah, blah. Here's some pictures of me at the beach, or, stuff like that. And then another email, hey, I just wanted to let you know, the kids were doing good. They had this, their first play at school, and, little Susie smoked it. And then, hey, man, I ain't heard from you. What's going on? You ghost me? What's wrong with you, man? You a bitch, bro. Like, huh? And I'm like, I'm on lockdown, dude. Like, what do you, and I think, a lot of people don't understand that, people in prison have lost family members, behind this. They've lost their wives, they lost their girlfriends, because a lot of people on the street, y'all have smartphones in your hand damn near 20 hours a day. Hell, I think some of you sleep with it. And so y'all out there on the streets, y'all can communicate, right then and there, literally around the world. How many times I couldn't get in touch with Nick for one reason or another, and I called you, and I was like, hey, man, send her a text for me letting her know that I'm trying to call her, but I'm just not getting through. And you send it immediately, and she gets it within, 10 seconds of me asking you to send it. So we can't do that. I wish to God we could. I wish we had cell phones in here. I don't understand why they don't give us cell phones in here. Yes, we have to pay for the cell phone plan, the provider, and, all of that stuff. You don't have to give us smartphones, though. You don't have to give us access to the internet. You can give us one that's specifically designed for prison to where, we can maybe even FaceTime with whoever we're talking to. As long as we're paying for the minutes or whatever, so we can do that from the cell, even if we're on lockdown, that would be awesome, but we don't have that. So everything in here, man, is a pressure cooker. Everything in here is leveled up by 10.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's why I need y'all help more than y'all need me.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I think it definitely goes both ways for me. Like I said, because like, we met pretty much right after my dad passed away, and that was talking to you was a big thing because like I don't know, we were able to talk like pretty much right away after. I don't know, we emailed for a couple of months or whatever it was. We emailed and then started talking on the phone, but we never had like awkward conversation or anything. We just like pretty much flowed right into it right away.
Actually, buddy, I think me and you started talking on the phone like within 2 weeks of writing each other.
Yeah, it probably was pretty fast.
It was pretty quick, and that's the thing. A lot of times I'll put somebody's phone number in, and the way it works, if you dial that phone number the very first time, and the people accept it right then and there, you can usually go straight into just talking to one another. But a lot of times, if for whatever reason y'all don't answer the first time, it can be a pain in the ass. Like it took me and Michael Wong, the original producer, I think it took us like 3 months to get a phone number actually set up and approved for me to start talking to him.
Really?
You know, but mine and yours, dude, like, I mean, it was literally, I dialed it, you answered on like the first ring, and it was approved, and we was talking, and like you said, I mean, there was no awkwardness or anything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, which was, you know, pretty cool. Definitely nice for me.
Yeah. Yeah, that was back when I was using Skype still too. Yeah. Yeah.
Skype. I love it and hate it at the same time.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely like that's. I mean, it's amazing that we actually have that kind of technology that you were able to connect with people from around the world that way. Like, we actually figured out how to do it. It's pretty cool.
Well, that's the thing. I didn't figure it out, actually. It was my friend Charlotte from France. The mother of Elise, who I wrote Elise in the Magic Well for, my little children's novel. You know, we was writing each other for a while, and then, you know, one day she sent me an email like, hey, if, you know, you're open to the possibility, you know, we can talk through Skype and everything, and, you know, that's how I found out about it. And, of course, you know, I called her, and we got it set up and approved and whatnot and started talking. You know, it's freaking awesome. You know, I'm talking to this, you know, total heavy metal golf chick, you know, who absolutely dotes on her daughter, and, you know, she speaks English, but it wasn't very good at the beginning. I could pretty much understand what she was saying. Sometimes I would have to kind of get her to clarify it a little bit better, but it was, you know, like she vastly improved. By the time I think we finished talking, you know, our friendship kind of petered out last year and she's one of the ones that I did lose contact with, you know, my friendship with, simply because we was on lockdown so much at Wallings Ridge. You know, which sucked because she was such a cool person. You know, but hell, by the time we got around to then, you know, dude, her English was better than mine. And it's literally the only language I speak. You know.
You were learning a little French. You learned some.
Yeah, I did learn a little bit, and that's pretty much gone out the window. Simply because, you know, I had the book and everything that Michael One bought me, How to Speak French for Idiots, or the Idiot's Guide to French, something like that. But I can't see the pronunciations. Well, I can't hear the pronunciations. I mean, I could see it on paper, but I couldn't hear it. And I'd spend a little bit of money trying to buy the How to Speak French off of the kiosk, JPay and whatnot, but it goes so freaking fast, dude. You can't really stop and rewind and pause and do all that stuff without messing your tablet up after a couple of minutes. You know, so I wound up giving up on learning French. I definitely want to learn another language before, you know, I kick the bucket, but it might be a little while.
Yeah. Well, French is definitely a cool language to learn. You can do some cool traveling if you know French. But it's way easier when you're a kid than if you're an adult trying to learn it. It's way easier when you're a kid.
Without question. But if I do learn French, I can go to Quebec and piss off a lot of hockey fans.
This is true. This is true.
Go up there and start talking about how great the Pittsburgh Penguins are. You know, screw the Maple Leafs. No, wait a minute. The Maple Leafs are Toronto, right?
Yeah, Montreal is Canadians. Montreal Canadiens.
Toronto that's Leafs. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, Quebec doesn't have a team anymore. They said the Quebec Nordiques.
Why did they lose their team?
I don't know. Quebec City's not that big of a city. Like, it's not that to support like an NHL team. It's not that big, but
you have 1 minute remaining.
Well, buddy, I guess we probably shouldn't record a 15-hour podcast.
No, we can wrap it up. But that was cool. Yeah. We're definitely gonna do more of these because I like how it's going. So, And I think it gives people a little more insight into your, like, a little behind the scenes type thing that people are going to like. So we'll definitely do more.
Well, for those of you listening, we appreciate it. We hope you enjoy this. And if you want more, write in and let us know, and we'll do more and maybe even try to get some other people on here.
Yeah, definitely. All right.
All right, buddy. I'll call you tomorrow.
All right, sounds good. We'll talk to you then.
All right, bye.
All right, bye.
I appreciate you folks listening to me. Remember, if you want to leave some feedback on the show or, ask a question or whatnot, again, that number inside the continental U.S. is 1-888-524-1932. Anyone outside the U.S., just put a plus in front of the 1. Works just the same. You can also visit me my website at redonionrandy.com or find me on X at redonionrandy. You don't have to, but if you want to, wherever you listen to my podcast, go on and give me some stars, or whatever is appropriate for that platform. I'll take whatever you can give me and be damn grateful for it. But, I'm trying to grow. I'm trying to grow the podcast. I'm trying to reach more people. I'm trying to get my voice out there to help people. The crazy thing is I actually am helping people. And in the process, I'm helping myself. So do what you can. And don't forget, I got sweatshirts, T-shirts, and maybe some other merch coming soon. You can find the link on the website, redonionrandy.com. And y'all take care and stay safe out there. Hope to hear from you soon.
Thank you for using GTL.